What's up, everyone? Brian here from Ride Your Money Wave. I gotta say, I am super excited because I am starting to hear from you. That's right, the emails are starting to pour in, and just yesterday, I helped 3 additional people with their money situations. Now, they were small little tweaks, but it gave me an idea, and that is to address perhaps some money mistakes and some myths around money that are commonly held by people that are holding them back from going out and building a financial abundance, financial security, and to go out there and live the life that they are hoping to do. I thought, why not start a new segment, and we'll simply call it Money, Myths, and Mistakes. Let's dive in and let's take a look. I'll give you a recap of the 3 people that I heard from and the suggestions that I gave them. All right, the first person that I heard from, I can't believe how common this is. I've actually heard from multiple people over the years thinking that this is a truth, and it deals with credit cards. She basically came out and said, I'm 18. My mom said that I should open up a credit card and that I should leave a little bit of money on my balance every single month so that I can build a credit score. I've heard otherwise. What do you think? I'm sorry you had to witness that. I told her a resounding no, absolutely not. You need to pay your credit card in full. Now, I've heard this myth before, this misconception that people think that if you actually have credit card debt, that it helps your credit score. I don't know where they got that from, but it is 100% incorrect. Your credit score is built from this multiple variable kind of black box equation that's not made known to the public exactly. One of the things that we can decipher from it is that, well, actually 2 things, is that your credit score is in part looked at from your debt to credit ratio. That is how much debt you have versus your credit line. And so the lower your debt to credit ratio, it shows that you are a good borrower, that you pay money back. And so you want your debt to credit ratio to be 0. Big fat 0. So every time you receive money, you pay that money back. That is a good borrower, and that will reflect in your FICO score. That's the first thing. The second aspect of your credit score is the length of the credit. Simply opening up an account, a credit card when you're 18, only charging the essentials. Okay? Only charging the essentials. Here I'm talking about gas and your cell phone. That's pretty much it, okay? Only charging your essentials at that age and paying it off in full at the end of the month. Now, when you go to move out and you're 22, 23 years old, let's say, maybe you're 21 years old. When you go to move out and you go to get your first apartment, you will have 4 years, 5 years, 6 years of good credit history showing that you pay your bills on time every month. And in doing so, you'll have a higher FICO score. And what you can do is you can use that to negotiate either a cheaper rent on your apartment, or if you're buying something, you can get a lower interest rate. Either way, it benefits you. But having a 0 debt to credit ratio and having a long history of being a good borrower with your credit card is going to bump up your credit score. I still have one of my oldest credit cards. There is 0 benefits to it. I don't get any bonus points or any miles or anything like that. And the only thing that I have on it is Spotify and Netflix. Why? Why don't I transfer that? Because it's helping my credit score because I have such a long credit history. Money myth and mistake number 2. Today I helped someone who has been putting money away for years into their Roth IRA, and they asked me a question in passing one day. They said, what interest rate do you get on your Roth IRA? And I said, well, you don't get a specific interest rate. It depends on what you're invested in. This year, it was 2019, was a great year to be invested in the S&P 500. You'll get about 30% just this year alone. And this person's eyes kind of got wide and said, oh, that's not how my Roth IRA works. I'm like, yes, it does. That means that something's wrong. So we took a look at this person's holdings, and for years they have been contributing money into their Roth IRA, and it's only been sitting in cash. They were not actually investing in the stock market. And so today we finally sat down. We came up with a game plan. We looked at a proper portfolio of asset allocation that matches their goals and their risk tolerance, and we finally enacted this. And it's been so rewarding to see this person better themselves, start getting involved with their money, start taking charge with their money, start to develop a mastery over their money. And really, it reinforces, and this person's starting to really understand the importance of rule number one. No one cares about your money as much as you do. So someone at the credit union told them, hey, they should open up a Roth IRA. They opened up the account, but they never did anything beyond that. The person at the credit union got the quota. They got their little pay bump for opening up that account, but they never took the time to educate. Money myth number two. Once you open up an account, that it is automatically invested and it takes care of itself. No, you need to look after it. You need to check in on it. You need to make sure that your money is doing what you intend. I can't tell you how many people over the years have made this mistake. And so once you open up that Roth IRA, make sure that it is directed towards buying stocks or whatever portfolio you want. All right, last but not least, money myth and mistake number three. Yesterday I had a great conversation with a young man who had a relatively simple question, but when I asked why he was looking at this specific scenario, it uncovered a deeper understanding, a deeper problem that we could address. And the question was, how do I divide up my account to go into 5 different places automatically? He wanted his money to come into an account and go 20% into 5 additional accounts. And I said, well, that can be done. That's relatively easy. But I said, why 20%? I mean, what's going on here, if you don't mind me asking? He said, well, I want 20% savings, 20% taxes, 20% for leisure, 20% for future investments. And he gave me, the 5 reasons for these accounts. And I said, whoa, hold on a second. This is totally skewed. You should not be spending 20% of your income on leisure. And in fact, what I encourage you to do, because you're in your mid-20s and you're starting to organize your finances and organize your life, what I strongly encourage you to do is to automate your investing and to automate your budget. And so rather than putting 20% of your money towards leisure, what I suggest you do is put 5%, maybe 10% of your money towards leisure. And instead take the rest of that money and start investing with it. Maybe 20% isn't going to be enough for your taxes. In fact, I think as a realtor who's 1099'd, I think you should actually probably have 30% set aside for your taxes. And anything that's left over, if you misallocate and you have a surplus, then guess what? That's a windfall. And all it takes is one big, great decision. Now you can add that to your saving and investing. And what was interesting is we started to ask, okay, what do you have? What are you doing to save and invest? Do you have a Roth IRA? Are you offered a 401k? And he wasn't offered a 401k through work. And I said, okay, well, that's not a good enough answer. We got to do something in order to get this for you. So why don't we start an LLC, and now your work can hire that LLC, and now you can open up a solo 401k. So that instead of just saying, well, it's not offered to me, no, we're going to create it. because rule number one, no one cares about your money as much as you do. So we spoke for about an hour and completely changed the trajectory of this young man's finances. He was so excited when we finished our conversation. You could just tell that he was geeked and ready to start implementing these decisions into his life because he knew that it was going to lead to a bigger and brighter future. Some money myths and mistakes. Number one, do not carry credit card debt. It does not help your credit score. Number two is make sure that when you open up an account for retirement that you're actually investing in something and not just keeping it in cash. And number three is fine-tune that budget. And remember that when you start to create that budget, that you should pay yourself first. The very first thing you should do before you see any money is you should take about 20% of your pay and invest it in your future. Then learn to live on the rest. And anything extra, anything else, any bonus, windfall, you name it, that money should have a purpose. Not just sitting in savings, but rather investing into the future. Helping this young man do that really, I think, opened the door for him, not only for his future, but for his mind as well, to see how much control he has and the ability to retire a multimillionaire. That's all we have time for today. But before we go, leave your favorite money myth or mistake in the comments below. What did you used to believe? What advice would you give your former self so that we can all learn about money together? Before you click off, be sure to hit like and more importantly, subscribe and send this to friends who you think would benefit from this information as well. Money and becoming wealthy is a non-zero sum game. We can all do this together. Till next time, utilize this information, implement it into your life, and go out there and go live your best life.